Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. This is Empire State of Baseball, episode number 20. Gentlemen, we've made it to the 20s now. Monday, August 15th, 2022, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. Guys, I can't believe it. We've hit 2-0 on the episode count. I mean, it's crazy thinking of where we are now in the dog days of August. Back to when we started in April. I feel like this season's flown, but how you guys feeling tonight?
We're feeling good, man. The Mets are rolling. I'm back off my hiatus. I had to take the wife out for our first anniversary last weekend. I'm sorry I missed it. Tom got a break from me for once.
Oh, boy.
And he gets John Hernandez, who isn't really much better, so I hope he enjoyed that little reprieve.
Oh, boy. Already starting off with a bang over here.
God.
Sure is. And Rich is starting off just still in the, I don't even know what, the buffer zone over there.
Yeah, it's a rough shape over here. Huh?
Oh, Rich the robot going on here. So it might be a 3-man show tonight. I don't know, guys. I don't know how I feel about this.
I mean, listen, we're just a few days past the Field of Dreams game, but it looks like Rich is going to the future in the Futures game right now, playing in space over there with the bed connection. And there he goes.
There he goes.
See ya.
Kid needs new internet, man.
Yeah, listen, Wi-Fi's a little shot over there. But listen, regardless if Rich joins us or not, we do have a show for you all today. A lot of baseball talk to get to this evening. But gentlemen, before we even jump to our New York baseball news, there was a pretty big story just a few days ago regarding one of MLB's young star players, and that is Fernando Tatis receiving a very nice suspension with PEDs. Tom, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts there on that?
It's sad, man. It really is. You know, he's a young, such a promising star, huge personality, a lot of fun. And to get popped like that, and obviously he did something that he should get suspended for. Really hate the excuses. It started with the ringworm, and I don't know if anyone else saw today. His dad, who Fernando Tatis Sr. played in the majors, said he got something from a haircut or something, and it's just like, listen, like, do I think Tatis has been using steroids his whole career? Probably not. I assume he's just doing it to try to recover to get back for this playoff run. They get Soto. He wants to make the run at it. And to get popped like this, it stinks. It's going to be interesting to see what happens though with his now. He's 23 years old. He has a long career ahead of him. But what happens with his legacy now? I know who knows. He could burn out just like any other young promising star. But if he doesn't, how has he looked in 5, 10, 15 years? I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Rich, you back?
I think I am. Am I back?
Oh,
yes.
I mean,
you can tell me. Am I back?
Rich
Well, I
assume
we're talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. So, Joe, go ahead and I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is an embarrassment, not only for Tatis, but for baseball as a whole. I mean, not only did the Padres put so much stock into Tatis, but baseball as a whole put stock into this kid as being the next guy, following Mike Trout, who can be the face of baseball. Their young superstar that they were grooming to be that new age star that everybody would look up to. All the kids would wear the Tatis jersey. That's out the window. I mean, he was on the cover of MLB The Show this year. They were pushing him more than they have pushed any athlete in probably since Ken Griffey Jr., let's be real. And Tatis has done nothing but show he is basically a child still. We had the incident where he broke his wrist. They questioned him about the motorcycle accident, and he responded, which one? Then he turns around on the eve of coming back and tests positive for steroids. There is nothing that we can trust with Fernando Tatis. From what he says, the Padres are regretting giving him $340 million. That's for sure. Over the next 14 years, they're stuck with him. And this is kind of just a disaster from not only a PR standpoint, but from a baseball operations standpoint. The Padres are stuck. And they traded C.J. Abrams, who could have been the heir apparent to Tatis in case Tatis kept getting himself in trouble. So they got rid of their backup plan. They were counting on him to be the guy that comes back and leads them into the playoff run, and he's gone now. And let's be real, he's acted like a complete and utter child. He has taken no responsibility for his actions. He blames on Cream for a ringworm, which if you go on Twitter and a couple doctors have said you wouldn't even use that to treat ringworm.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no excuse for it. And I feel for the Padres fans most of all. Because
it's tough because I feel for them, but I feel for Major League Baseball. I mean, you had a star, a bona fide star in your grasp here, and all about, turning over a new audience to watch baseball. Fernando Tatis Jr., when right, was the coolest thing going in fucking baseball. He was awesome to watch.
He's been the coolest thing since Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, Mike Trout is awesome, but Mike Trout is
I don't think that's hyperbole, Tom. I think you're absolutely right. I think he was the coolest baseball player to step on the field since Ken Griffey Jr. And for him to do what he's been doing, year 2 into a 14-year contract, $340 million, as Joe just mentioned. Oh my goodness, you just gotta feel ashamed for the Padres for even going through with that deal. And then just giving up the farm for Soto, which did have C.J. Abrams and other guys that would help their future cause. The Padres are stuck now. They are stuck with this contract, and this is something that's not going to be easy to offload. You just hope that Tatis comes back with a vengeance when he does come back from his suspension.
I mean, it's still so early with him. Corey, I know you want to jump in here too, but he could learn from this, guys. I know it's bad, but I don't think he's gonna just absolutely flame out. I think he still has a chance to be a very, very good baseball player.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corey, get in here, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. But the one thing I want to call out with this contract, going to Rich's point about Major League Baseball, there's been talk forever about how the younger players just are not making enough money I mean, they're making more than quadruple what I am when they first enter the league. But then you have these, you have this Tatis contract, and this is like, okay, this is going to be the next big wave, a team playing their superstar player while he's still so young with so many years of control. This was supposed to be setting the tone for the future. And what happens? It's looking like a huge mistake right off the bat. And listen, will it be a huge mistake? We'll see what happens 14 years from now, and then we'll have a better understanding of was it a mistake or not. But right now, this is not a good look. And other teams that want to pay their young players when they're only a year or two out of the minors might start thinking twice based off this. And keep in mind, the Padres offered him that contract. Tatis didn't even play a full season's worth of games at that point at the major league level. I mean, 84 games in 2019, had the COVID shortened season in 2020 with 59 games. That's less than 162. That's not even a full season set, and they gave him a 14-year deal at $340 million. I thought it was a little absurd that it happened so early, but I mean, now it's looking even wilder than we thought.
Well, listen, I mean, the thing with Tatis is I don't expect him to necessarily flame out. I think he's still going to be a productive player if he can stop the self-destructive activity. I mean, that right now, the problem with the Padres is not the talent level. The talent level is still going to be there regardless of the steroids or not. He's still a great player, but now you can't rely upon him to be there when you need him to be there. And two, this prop up, this attention, this marketing money, this attention on your franchise, all that goes away. MLB's not going to spend a dime marketing Tatis anymore, knowing that he's a now steroid.
He doesn't need to. He's getting $314 or whatever $1 million coming his way.
No, yes, but I'm saying that extra juice they had, I don't think a lot of people are going to be all that excited for him to come back until he proves over the course of a mostly a full season, because he's still going to miss 20 games next year, over the course of a full season, that he can be a reliable, productive player and lead them to a playoff. Because until you do that, I wouldn't be excited to have him back next year until I can see that he is back in uniform playing at the highest level.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it'd be very boring show, but I could go back, 2 years to old text messages with my fantasy baseball league saying like this contract was crazy to give him at this point. It shocked me then, not even because of thinking he's going to do something like this, but just in general, giving that much money and that length to a guy who, like Corey said, hadn't even played a full major league season under his belt at that point. I doubt Corey and absolutely Joe did not watch this last night, and Rich probably didn't either. The K-Rod cast. A-Rod had a lot of interesting takes on. No, he does. I mean, listen, if you want to talk about like young, promising shortstop gets popped for steroids, like A-Rod is there's the guy. And I thought it was just interesting how he said that he's A-Rod has eventually been able to own up to his mistakes. And he got popped when he was in his 30s, not 23. But it was just interesting hearing his perspective on, the making that mistake and saying that he kind of wishes a guy like Tatis maybe would have reached out to him and it's sad. It's sad. It's self-inflicted, but it's still very sad to see for the game, for Padres fans and hopefully he can get past this and can recover his image and be a productive player and for the Padres sometime next year.
Oh yeah. Yep. Well, we'll see what happens. A long way to go with that contract. We'll see what ends up happening. But, we'll just got to write out the suspension first and see what happens from there. But anyway, we do got a ton of New York baseball to talk about tonight. But before we get to that, Joe, tell us how people should go and watch us.
Okay, you can watch our stream live when we go live. Download the Twitch and subscribe to Empire State of Baseball. The link is in our Twitter bio. Turn on your notifications. You get the notification if you subscribe when we go live, and you can just swipe open your phone, maybe your Face ID or password, whatever you do, and you can listen to us right away. So that's how you follow us.
That's how you follow us. Let's talk New York Mets baseball because it has been, as pains me to say, it has been an awesome run for the New York Mets as of late, especially in the second half. One of the best second half starts in baseball right now for the New York Metropolitans. And we can cover a vast majority of topics with this team and all the great things that are happening. Of course, they're heading into a big series against Atlanta, which we are going to talk about shortly with Chooch's pick of the week, spoiler alert. But let's talk Edwin Diaz. He was the spotlight of our Instagram story today when we asked our viewers and our followers who is the front runner for the NL Cy Young Award. And unfortunately, Diaz didn't get as much love as one would hope. Sandy Alcantara led that class right there. I think Diaz pulled in 1 or 2 votes. But Edwin Diaz, does he truly make a case for the NL Cy Young Award this year, guys?
You know what? The fact that we're actually having this conversation about a reliever, let alone Edwin Diaz with the Mets, it's fascinating in itself because nobody would have anticipated this. And I did expect a good year from Edwin Diaz. When I was thinking about the Mets bullpen, Edwin Diaz to me wasn't the problem. The problem was we don't have any lefty relievers outside of Joely Rodriguez, and the middle relief not as great. Lugo not as good as years past. Trevor May had an up and down year. Both have been good lately, though. So I got to give them that. But the fact we're having this conversation right now in the middle of August is absolutely crazy. I mean, Diaz is having a phenomenal season in 47 games thus far, 1.33 ERA, 27 saves, 94 Ks. I mean, he's only about 30 Ks away from his career high, and we still have almost 2 months left in the season to go, and a sub-1 whip. I mean, a .866 whip. The guy hasn't blown a save. I forget the exact date. I don't think he's blown a save since May and hasn't given up an earned run since June. I was at the game actually this past Saturday, and that was his worst outing since he blew the save in June. And that's only because he had 2 walks, but he still got the save. He still got the job done. 1-0 Mets win. I mean, this guy since June has only had 2 walks this last weekend. He had 1 walk a whole month of July and 1 walk the entire month of June. I mean, it's unbelievable the year he's having. We could talk all about the Cy Young stuff. I know Alcantara has such a huge case, but Joe, as a fellow Mets fan, how do you feel about this Diaz situation right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's right now he's on another level. He's very few relievers get to this kind of level. You're thinking Eric Gagne. You're thinking K-Rod when he saved 62 games. Mariano's got a couple seasons where he gets to this level where it's over. You know it's over when he comes in. And Diaz, how things have changed in a couple of seasons. He's been unbelievable. The stat that sticks out to me is he's struck out 94 of the 180 batters he's faced. I mean, that is an absurd level. I think it's like 52% of the batters he's faced. Yep. If the season ended today, he has 17.9 strikeouts per 9. The all-time record was Aroldis Chapman back with Cincinnati at 17.7. And looks like the Mets-Braves game will get delayed as there's a huge storm that rolled through. That's
of course they'll lose. You know what? They're losing 3-0. Cancel the game tonight.
Yep.
Why not?
So there is an air about Diaz right now that I don't think I think it actually frightens teams because I don't think a lot of people believe that he can be touched right now in terms of blowing a save. I mean, the only thing that got him in trouble in the last game were the walks. It still wasn't great contact against him. So, I think that's a huge part of it. He's got the best entrance song in the game right now with Narco. Corey, you can attest to it. When those gates open and those trumpets sound, I mean, it is one of the all-time great entrance songs.
And from just a popularity standpoint, the fact that it's almost like that's number one in dance tracks for iTunes and in the top 40, I believe, right now for overall top 4. It's insane the popularity Narco has gotten because of Diaz.
Yeah. It's been fantastic. And you know what? It's things like this that make it fun. And when you're a dominant closer, you need something like that because I'm imagining an October playoff game and those gates open and Diaz is coming in with the lead. That stadium and that atmosphere is going to be on such a fantastic level. I think it brings new energy and new life to a team that has always kind of been missing that. We've always gotten second fiddle closers basically since the early 90s because the Yankees have always had the top guy. So it's kind of a little bit of a change and to see that energy there is electric.
Edwin Diaz is awesome. And I don't even have to get it. Like we got into the numbers already. He's insane. Yes, he's going to make a case for NL Cy Young. Now, does a relief pitcher belong though in the Cy Young voting though? I want to get your opinion on that, guys, as just more of a general thing. Forget about how great Diaz is. Should we include relievers in the mix for a Cy Young contention?
I mean, listen, he's had a phenomenal year. He's been as good as a closer as you could want. There's really only been one, I would say, true modern day closer to win a Cy Young, and that's Eric Gagne back in whatever year
2001, I believe that
2000. Was. Yeah. There's been 9 relievers to win Cy Youngs, but a lot of these guys go back further where closers are pitching 2-3 innings. So it's a very different game. Gagne that year saved 55
2003.
games. 2003, 55 games.
He was too.
Yeah, and he was also perfect. He's not winning the Cy Young. Listen, and if Met fans want to say I'm just hating on the Mets, then whatever. He's not winning the Cy Young. He's the best. He's best reliever in baseball. He's gonna win whatever. Is it still the Roll Age Relief Man of the Year, whatever it's called now? He's gonna win that.
I don't think it's been the Roll Age Relief Man since like 2007.
Listen, it's still the Roll Age Relief Man to me. You're coming in, settling that upset belly.
I think they named it after Trevor Hoffman, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they might have named it after Trevor Hoffman, but I think that they should rename it again, the Roll Age Relief Man of the Year. He should absolutely 2012, man. He should absolutely get votes. He's not going to get it. The Zach Britton 2016 season where he was, I think, also perfect 47 saves. He was 4th in the Cy Young that year. Listen, Mets fans, you got the best closer in baseball, and the best closer in baseball, as a Yankee fan can tell you, is a very valuable thing to have in the playoffs. And he's just not going to get that Cy Young. Alcantara has been so good this year, and he's doing things that starting pitchers aren't doing anymore. he has to have what? Probably as many complete games as like the rest of the NL combined. Like
Yeah,
I don't.
he's got. Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
He's got
it's
three
insane.
complete games, and
He says
the
3
the next
complete
leader
games.
is 1.
Okay, so it's not the rest of the NL combined, but yeah, it's exactly. It's and Patrick Corbin has 1, so I guess anyone can luck into one of those.
Which is scary.
Little history lesson. 2014, they replaced the Roll Age Relief Man Award and have the Mariano Rivera AL Reliever of the Year Award and the Trevor Hoffman NL Reliever of the Year Award. So, in the same light of Trevor Hoffman and Mariano Rivera, 2 iconic.
So listen, Edwin Diaz is winning the Roll Age Relief.
Am I just not going to finish my point?
No, because he's winning the Roll Age Relief Man. I'm going to hand it out to him. I'm going to say you are the Roll Age Relief Man of the Year. Congratulations, Edwin Diaz.
Appreciate it, Thomas. So Trevor Hoffman, Mariano Rivera have the namesake of the current awards. Also, 2 of the most iconic entrances when it comes to Major League Baseball. Mariano with Enter Sandman. Trevor Hoffman, I believe, that Hell's Bells AC/DC. Let me ask you guys, though, if you were entering the game, had to save it for the 9th inning, what would be your walkout song?
Ooh, what would be my walkout song? I have to think. I wasn't expecting this. This is a good question.
Well, this is, we're live. So go for it.
You know what? I had this as in some game. I had it as my song, and I was like, you know what? It fits. Here I am, rock you like a hurricane.
Okay, Scorpion.
Yeah, I feel like Scorpion. Right? It's not a bad not a bad jingle. You coming out, you want to rock someone, blow them away. I mean, a hurricane, so it works out.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, man, you want something that's gonna pump. You want something that's gonna pump you up. I'm just trying to think. Like, I know if you're talking like what song you listen to at the gym to get yourself pumped up. If you give me some Kanye West, All of the Lights, kind of starting similar with like a horn thing, I think that would be electric, especially now with like, because how many times we've talked about this on the show where they've kind of like started infusing more like WWE stuff into baseball. Like if you had all the lights out and then they started coming on, I think that'd be pretty electric for someone to come into. But the trumpets are awesome. I mean, it's so cool. Fun.
Yeah,
I always thought, and when the Mets had at Syndergaard, I always thought that they should really like pump it up when he was on the mound being Thor. But Thunderstruck by AC/DC is a fantastic. You get that guitar going, and you got the thunder chant coming on as you enter the game. That in a crowd, I think of it from a crowd involvement and getting the crowd involved in that. And that's a song everybody knows. So like you dim the lights and you let them flash every time it says thunder. You could get that crowd going. That would probably be mine. I mean, and especially if you're a flamethrower, that's just it's an electric song, an absolutely electric song. So that would be mine.
So I do have one complaint. It's not to do with Diaz. It's a Major League Baseball complaint that I have that I noticed because the Mets do a really good job of kind of putting the video out of him coming up and put it on Twitter later. It ruins everything as he's walking to the mound, and he almost trots to the sound. It's which like it's just fun, and then the umpires like doing the palm check. It just it ruins the moment. If you're this is what they need to do. Like Major League Baseball got enough money, put an extra umpire in the bullpen, and you check him before he comes out, and not just him, like anyone. It's so weird. He comes out and then he gets greeted at the mound.
Yeah, you almost have like have a bouncer at the gate, and then let him.
Yeah, he checks him, and then it goes in. I watched the one they did the other day where it was like the black and white to the color, and it looked cool, and then he gets stopped, and he's just like, guys like playing. He's like tickling his palm. It's weird.
I love that. And I've had a real quick make a pick, and Tom kind of alluded to wrestling. I know Joe's a huge wrestling fan. I go Cult of Personality. I'll go in living color.
There's
CM
so
Punk
many
entrance.
of those. Can you imagine a Stone Cold just like glass break?
That would be cool too.
I know Austin Riley comes out to that, and I know that because I was watching the Mets like 7 minutes ago or whatever, and I saw him come up. But like, just something like anything like that would be electric.
Yeah.
Cespedes when he was with the Mets coming out to the Lion King.
It's a lot of fun you can have. Yeah.
It was hysterical.
If we're talking batter walk-offs, we got a completely different conversation. But yeah, that was an epic walk-up song for Yoenis Cespedes back in the day. But good stuff. Let's keep it moving though, and just make sure to give us a follow on all our social medias. And Tom, how can our fans follow us all?
Well, fans, you can follow us on our show Twitter at Empire State of Baseball. Also on that's our Instagram, Empire State of Baseball. Twitter is ESB Podcast. You can follow Gory at G Gory, Rich at Rich J Rivera. You can follow Joe at Junior Pugs, and follow myself at T Wospil. All of those on Twitter.
Junior Pugs. God, did we
slow.
miss him last week? Not really. All right.
The runtime's in it.
You know who we did miss on the show? Chooch's pick of the week. Let's talk to Matt here.
What's up, ESB crew? Chooch is back with Chooch's pick of the week. My pick this week is kicking it off tonight. The Mets taking on the Braves in a 4-game set.
Oof.
I think the Mets are, one of the hottest teams in baseball. People talking about the Dodgers being that hot. I think the Mets are just as hot. I think the Mets are going to take 3 out of the 4 games for the Braves and build up that lead in the NL East. What do you guys got?
Well, he's got the Mets padding that lead. He did not have the rain delay, though. So shame on Chooch.
Yeah.
But,
although, listen, I tell you what, I hope this becomes a rain out and they have to redo it another point in the future because it's a 3-0 deficit right now, but still early, second inning. I mean, that could change on a fly, especially if Strider's out of the game now. Long bullpen game. We'll see what happens. I love it, though, man. Chooch, I love the support. Let's go Mets, 3 out of 4. I will be extremely happy with a simple split. I will be doing cartwheels down the block if they win the series yet again. I will be pumped. I love the pick, Chooch.
Yeah, as hot as the Mets are, I got to give the Braves a little bit of credit. After the Mets blew their doors off a few weeks ago, they've hung around. They didn't quit. I thought that, that could be a sign where a team like the Braves could get beat, from the team they're chasing and roll over and die. They haven't done that. It looks like they got the edge in this game today. So I'm going to go 2-2. The good thing with the Mets is they got Scherzer and DeGrom the last 2 parts of the series. And above all else, the rest of the league the last 2 weeks has been put on notice. This is what life is like with Scherzer and DeGrom going back to back. You are going to have a long series if you have to play both of them in the same series. They have been absolutely fantastic, and I don't care what anybody says. When DeGrom's healthy, there is no pitcher, and there might not have been a pitcher that has walked the earth that is better at his job than Jacob DeGrom is the last few years. At run prevention, there is no one better. He has been utterly brilliant after not pitching for 390 days. So I'll go 2-2. I think the Braves are going to win the first 2. I think the Mets are going to win the second 2.
Tom?
Richard?
Oh, I was going to toss it to you.
Oh, I'm tossing it right back to you. A little hot potato.
All right. Well, I'm also with Joe here. I'm going to go 2-2 as well with the split. I think the Braves are definitely going to try to come back with a vengeance here after being upset in their own ballpark and obviously getting smacked around at City. They're back in Atlanta. So I'm gonna go here. Braves Mets splitting the series. And I think Joe presented it very well with the 2-2 split in the way it's going to be done. So I'm with him there. 2-2.
Yeah, let's go for the Braves here. Especially knowing they're up 3-0 right now makes it a little easier to take them. And let's get this race interesting again coming down the stretch. The Mets have been and as today are best team in baseball, especially with that starting pitching rolling the way it is. Let's get that race a little tighter. Some good games going to happen down in Atlanta, and let's get interesting as we close out the season here.
All right, and that is once again Chooch's pick of the week. Thank you, Matt. Make sure to give him a follow at mtook45 for all Chooch's picks, and also make sure to give us a follow and some love on our YouTube here, Empire State of Baseball, like the show that you have tuned into. We have full episode, best of clips. So we're going to get our full episode up after tonight's episode. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And that is the hub for all our content right there, YouTube. All righty. So we covered the Mets ad nauseum for the first half hour of this show. Talked about Edwin Diaz and the entrances and how great DeGrom is and their big series coming up. They have a hell of a schedule with the Braves and the Phillies and the Yankees. But let's cover the latter. Let's talk Yankees here, and it's been rough, Thomas. It's been very rough. to
Sure
watch.
has been. As we watch Aaron Hicks bat with the bases loaded and 1 out, so
double play.
inning over, double play coming.
Yep. Or
It's going to be
strikeout.
devastating, and I'm not going to want to talk for the rest of the episode once it does.
It's rough. I mean, it's rough, and it's so crazy, and it's so like New York baseball fan that the fact of the matter is the Mets have been the story. They've been capturing headlines over the last few weeks.
They should,
arguably. And the Mets sit at 5.5 games over the Atlanta Braves right now. Which, listen, that means in a 4-game set, that could be a 1.5 game, lead. But with the way the Mets have been playing, no one's really batting an eye right now. They've been playing great baseball. The Yankees, who have a 10-game lead over the Toronto Blue Jays right now, have Yankee fans in absolute hysteria. What was it? Double play or strikeout?
Double play. Back to first.
Perfect.
That's hysterical.
So the Yankees with a 10-game lead over Toronto have fans in absolute hysteria because they have been playing absolute miserable, unwatchable, uninspiring baseball over the last month. And in their last 31 games, this team has gone 11-20. They are 8-15 since the second half began. And it's so insane to think that you'd be complaining about a team that's 10 games up in the division. But that's just a detriment to, hey, that first half Yankees team has saved the second half Yankees right now. Because in that time span, well, at least with the second half of the season, they went into the second half with a 14.5 game lead in the division. They only lost 4.5 games with everything going on. So we all talked about this on the show, Joe especially. We knew that this Yankee team wasn't as good as we were seeing. We knew at some point the wheels were going to come loose. We had an episode where we talked about a 20-game stretch where we thought that this might happen here, and they ended up going 14-6. The wheels are coming off, and this team is on a downward spiral. But again, they were saved by their first half performance because they're still 10 games up in the division. Joe, Corey, whoever wants to take this, what do the Yankees need to do to turn their luck around?
I mean, part of it is you want to get your full lineup back. I know Stanton's been out, and Stanton was having a solid season, goes on the All-Star break, gets hurt. No one thought he was hurt really, too. Comes back, missed a couple of games, and all of a sudden a couple of games now it's turned into a full month with Stanton being away. You look at the closer spot, and I mean, look how good you were converting basically every save in the first half of the season, and now the ninth inning is becoming a roller coaster ride. You're seeing the starting pitching starting to take a step back, and again, the starting pitching really overachieved because I think for most of us, we thought the starting pitching was the weakest link of this Yankees team when we did our predictions way back in April. The starting pitching was phenomenal the first half of the season. Now started to really come back down to earth. You had the Severino injury. Honestly, I think what they have to do is just slowly just start winning series. Just go out there, take 2 of 3, 2 of 3, 2 of 3. Forget about trying to build this historic run. All right.
That's over.
That's over. So forget about that. Just go back to doing the right things. Get the close. You want to close out the game. Get the big hit, unlike Hicks right now in that inning situation there. Mm-hmm. Just start playing the game the right way. Get a few wins. Get a few series wins under the belt, and everything will balance out. You don't have to be on a historic pace. If you just play decent ball, you're going to be at worst the second best team in the American League. You just have to go back to doing the small things right and stop trying to hit a home run every time.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think the guys on the, I don't want to get, I guess, misunderstood here. The guys on the field are trying. As an organization, the Yankees have not been trying for weeks now. Putting Severino on the 60-day IL when he was starting to throw was very much a let's just preserve him for the playoffs.
Yep.
If we were in, if this was we were a 2-game lead right now, Stanton would be back. They are really nursing a lot of these things. Rizzo missed a lot of time with some back things. He's had some back issues this year. I really think now listen, it's terrible to watch. It is miserable to watch. And you look at the lineups every day and you see like Donaldson hitting third. You see Glaber leading off today, and he's been horrible recently. And it's tough to watch. I don't think they care as an organization. The players care. The players are trying. Boone's trying. As an organization, they don't care right now. They just want to get one of those top 2 seeds. And although everyone here might disagree, I think as an organization, they think they could turn it on in the second, third week of September, get 3 weeks of basically treat this like spring training right now, and just ramp up and ready to go. Do I believe that that's the smartest thing to do? No, but I think that's how they look at it, as managing these guys. Hell, if Judge wasn't on this historic run that he is, he would probably be, they would have shut him down at some point to get him some rest, but you really can't, hide that at this point. I mean, that's just where they are. I think it's organizational thought, and I don't agree with it, but I think that's what they think is best.
Well, I said this a few weeks ago. They're playing NBA. They're playing this like it's in the NBA regular season, and it's not. That the thing with the Major League Baseball season, you are never really out of it until you're actually eliminated. 10 games, you can make up 7 games in a week, and that's what the Yankees have to be careful of. Now, Toronto hasn't fired. The Rays are beat up and all that stuff, but the Yankee team, and I've been saying this for weeks. I know Tom thinks I was full of it and all that stuff, but there were chinks in the armor all along. The Yankees got exceptional performances the first half of the year that from guys that had never performed at that level consistently. They had Tyon having a great first half, Montgomery, Cortez. They had guys like Holmes, King. All these guys do. Trevino is another one. They had guys who have never, ever performed at those levels, all performing at those levels at the same time. Historically, that does not happen for whole seasons. Guys who have great first halves oftentimes don't finish the season. And that's the difference between great players and ordinary players. The great players have whole season. Look at Verlander, for example. Verlander has whole seasons. That's what separates him from a Hall of Fame pitcher to a guy maybe who wins one Cy Young like Dallas Keuchel and then disappears. To me, the Yankees got a lot of issues, and I don't know where they're going to go to fix them. The bullpen is a big one right now. Holmes is no longer closing out games for you. Now you have a problem. King is hurt. Britton may or may not come back at the end of the year. Who knows? Chapman may come around, but he's 4
Chapman has come around. Chapman has come around, and listen,
but he might be 4 balls away from losing it again.
He could be, but I'll be honest. That I know we talked about a few weeks ago that we would be as happy with Clay Holmes as anyone to close the games in the playoffs. I think these last 3 weeks have probably changed Rich and I's opinions, which obviously that's going to happen. Chapman has looked great, and he's been someone who's closed out big playoff games before.
Awesome.
If this continues, Chapman's the closer in the playoffs. Yeah. And I was gonna say, Rich, you put it up on the screen before from our buddy.
Yeah, I was about
to took 45. This is another case of them not trying. They sent down Ron Marinaccio, who's been great because he had an option, just so they didn't have to either DFA Litke or not Bobby Abreu, Albert Abreu, and it's just
Bobby Abreu's been long gone.
It's just because they can, because they kind of want to just keep manipulating the roster and
I don't think
giving those options. They don't care right now. They don't.
And listen,
Oswald Peraza still's in here, so they don't care.
One big thing, and I don't know if they thought they had a deal in for Lopez. That's why they dealt Montgomery.
I think they definitely did. We talked about that last. They absolutely thought they did.
But that trade is a horrific trade. And not that Montgomery is a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but that guy pitches every 5th day.
But that's another case of it. They did not think, and he wasn't. Jordan Montgomery was not going to pitch a postseason game. He wasn't. He was not going to be a top 3 starter on this team in the playoffs. And they thought getting Harrison Bader would be better for a playoff run. It's just another case of them punting the second half of the year, thinking they can turn it on, and we'll see if it works. It doesn't look good right now, but there's still a lot of season left.
Monty in 2 games right now with the Cardinals has a 0 ERA.
Well, that was a trade that really just to me. I mean, that's a trade where we discussed this last week. They made that trade thinking that they had the Lopez trade in the bag, but they jumped the gun. They pulled the trigger on that trade for Hader. And what happens? They don't do the deal with the Marlins. And now, granted, is Montas a better pitcher than Montgomery? Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, yeah.
But you lost a big depth piece, a guy who was
doing
doing a nice
in
job.
his speed, Corey, it would be Domingo Germán. Is obviously the guy who's in that position right now. If Monty was there, Germán would likely be either in the bullpen or in the AAA. And honestly, Germán's pitched well. Thus far, starting wise, Tom, I think, can admit that.
He's pitched well.
He's pitched well. He's done a job. Actually, I think the starting pitching over the last week has been good. Good. It's just
been hitting.
They're not
how are you expecting to score runs when like some of I'm gonna look back at some of these like the lineups they've been putting out recently.
And then when the offense is clicking, the bullpen's not closing the game. So it's just you don't have a lot of things clicking at the right time, which what they had, that's the luck they had in the first half of the season. Everything was working. Starting pitching was phenomenal. The offense was great. They were scoring 10 runs a game. You had a great bullpen closing down games.
Guys like Hicks were hitting home runs. The one hit they had all week was a home run in the 9th inning. I mean,
we did ask this question. We, as in Corey, asked this question on our Twitter at ESP Podcast, obviously. Yankee fans, what is your biggest concern with this team during the recent funk? We have injuries and depth, closer spot, managerial, and another. Mainly, people voted for injuries and depth, and obviously, all three of these things have contributing factors. I think closer is definitely one that needs to be figured out. And I don't know if there's is there a go-to plan? I think you have a bullpen full of good relievers, and none of them can close. And
I think I think they don't want to just give it to Chapman yet.
Right off has a 2.75 ERA, so he's not doing terrible.
No, he's not. Your Wandy Peralta's of the world right there. He's not going to be closing out games. The thing is that they don't have a lot of times what you want in the playoffs is you want one of those starters who just really converts to the bullpen. And the obvious one for the Yankees is Severino. He's the one that has the stuff and the arm to do it. But I think they really see him as their third starter in the playoffs. A guy like Nestor Cortez is not a flamethrower. Tyone, he has, his good fastball, but he's not going to be. You want a guy that's going to come in and be able to pump hundreds.
They have that. It's in AAA. It's Marinaccio. Marinaccio would be that guy.
It's Marinaccio. Then we'll see what they bring when they bring Clark Schmidt back up. They've been kind of stretching him out.
Who's like perfect through 6 innings the other day. Yeah, those are two relievers who are definitely getting the shit end of the stick.
And Clark Schmidt did good. He was doing good in his few outings.
They sent him down to stretch him out. You can't really do that. That makes sense. The Marinaccio was strictly because they didn't want to have to DFA a guy and burn a guy, and it's just they don't care, and so they bring up Oswald Peraza. They don't care.
Let's see what happens. But I'll tell you what, going back to that poll, I mean, I personally voted for the closer spot as well as the issue that I thought was the biggest concern. Because listen, injuries in depth, that's an issue which happens for most teams. I mean, obviously with the Yankees right now, it's a lot of them happening at once in the second half. But you expect Stanton's going to be back. Severino, you hope's back. A lot of these guys you think will be back. The problem is with the closer spot. I mean, this is the bullpen that you're expecting to win it all with in September, in October, and hopefully in November for the Yankees. So the closer spot to me is the biggest concern because right now going to the 9th inning, it's like, all right, I don't know how I feel right now. Whereas on the flip side, when we had our Mets poll, we had a similar Mets poll, but for opposite reasons. It was saying, as a Mets fan right now, what has been the biggest strength for this team during our hot second half? And I actually voted, I was the minority here, but I voted for Diaz's dominance, which is the complete opposite of my vote for the Yankees, where it was the lack of closing right now, because you want to go into these games. If you get decent starting pitching, even if you get bad starting pitching, good offense or bad offense, if you go into the 9th inning with a small lead and you're consistently unsure if you're going to close it out versus it's locked down, that's a big difference right there. I mean, getting a guy like Edwin Diaz, I have all the confidence in the world right now. Clay Holmes in the first half, everyone had all the confidence too. Not so much right now. And it's a big difference from the Yankee team of old where they had the greatest closer of all time. And they won a lot of World Series because of him. A lot of games won.
I mean, listen, other than possibly place kickers in the NFL, relievers are the most finicky position in all of sports. And you could have 3 bad weeks and you could just be absolutely lost and who knows when you get it back. So it's true. And who knows when you find it again. Clay Holmes we had another, Matt put it in the chat. Holmes needs a mystery DL or IL stint. they could do that, and he could come back and have found it. You just don't know with relievers. They come and go so quickly. It's just it's tough to watch right now.
It
wasn't for Judge. I don't think I could watch him.
My biggest concern with the Yankees right now, it is not even the closer position. I worry about the offense because the Yankees for years, I mean, we say this all the time. The Yankees get to postseason and they don't hit, and nobody can figure out why. This team destroys bad pitching, but when it goes up against good pitching, as most teams do, they do not win. They got too much swing and miss in their game. And when the Yankees are out homered, they're like, I think it's like 3-27 or something like that this year. Something absurd. So if
I don't think that's accurate.
That's a stat I heard on Sirius XM this morning on MLB Network. So if they got that wrong, then somebody can correct me. But they do, when they get out homered, they don't win games. And the problem is, outside of Judge, you don't have a world beater in that lineup. Even with Stanton coming back, he's got a ton of swing and miss in his game. I'm sorry, I don't see the offense when you match it up against Houston's pitching staff or the Mets or the Dodgers. I don't think the Yankees are going to be able to consistently produce runs in a postseason setting. I mean, Donaldson's got a lot of swing and miss. Rizzo's got a lot of swing and miss, and we contacted him. We know Gleyber Torres got a lot of swing and miss. So aside from Judge, who will be pitched around from here on out, especially in the playoffs, where's the offensive production coming from?
I mean, listen, the Yankees are 14th. They have the 14th most team strikeouts, so they are, essentially as middle of the pack as you're gonna get. They do swing and miss a lot, but it's not at a historic or a rate that is, like unfathomable. Listen, like there's good pitching in the playoffs. There's like scores go down. So it's
we're also we're gonna talk about Stanton, and we're missing. This team is missing production out of two middle of the order guys that they can really use. One of them, who they lost to the IL, Matt Carpenter.
Yeah,
Carpenter hit 305. This is a guy who would be a significant part of this line, which is crazy to think that was even an idea when they signed the guy in the first place. But Carpenter has hit himself into a full-time spot in that lineup and going down with the fractured foot and possibly miss for the rest of the season. That's a huge loss for this team. And number two, Andrew Benintendi, where are you, man? I mean, that's a guy who hit 320 for the Kansas City Royals, comes over. He's already gotten a 17-point drop in his batting average since coming over to the Yankees. So they really need Benintendi to start clicking here. And you want to give a player that's coming to the New York Yankees, that 2 weeks to try to get adjusted. We're almost going into a month now, and Benintendi hasn't proven that he's that guy. Defensively, awesome. But Joey Gallo is actually having a better productive outing with the Dodgers. I know he's not the option, but Benintendi really needs to show up where it matters most for this team.
Yeah, Benintendi right now, and you said it best, Rich. I mean, before coming over, he was hitting 320, solid hitter, and it's a guy who's familiar with the division. I mean, he came up with the Red Sox, so it's not like he's new to the AL East or anything like that. But then come over to the Yankees, only hitting $196. Granted, it's a smaller sample size; it's only a couple of weeks, but still $196. Yeah, and Carpenter, going back to what you said earlier, not only was he hitting great, but he seemed to be hitting in all of these clutch situations as well. I mean, the guy was consistently helping you win ball games, and that's the type of mojo that team had in the first half. Was no matter what the score was, I feel like you would be down 2-0, 3-0, down a couple of runs late in the game, and you always found a way to come back, and it was because of
I think it's a much different lineup than they're throwing out there right now.
Right. And I think the other thing with that, Corey, I think Carpenter gave the Yankees somebody to rally around, which sometimes that's what you need, man. True. You need that one player you feel like, all right, that's our guy. We're going to run him to, like, I think the Mets sort of have that right now with Daniel Vogelback, kind of like being almost like a cult hero right now to the current team.
They need like a young spark, like a
Oswald.
I don't know, like a shortstop, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's something that could spark the team.
Maybe Peraza. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, this would be if you're going to call up Peraza. I mean,
kind of did win a game on Saturday.
Yeah, cool. He won them a game. He also booted a ball today that then extended an inning for Cole. So
yeah, it was all
kind of for is not the reason that you're sliding.
But not just again, you weren't. He's not, but it is the easiest, most obvious answer to fix on this team.
But you don't send a guy down who's basically hitting whatever he's hitting 290 or whatever it is. You don't get rid of a guy like that just because he's not hitting for
We're
power.
complaining that a career 266 hitter is hitting 271. God.
Yeah, well, he also can't hit the ball, past the infield dirt.
Tom digs the
In the
long
air.
ball.
Yankees need more.
I don't need a long ball.
They need more contact in their lineup, not less contact. That's not the problem that the Yankees are facing. They need more traffic on the bases, not less. So
they have a lot to fix, and hopefully by next Monday, me and Tom will speak a little bit positively about this team. But we'll see. They have a tough few games up ahead. Tampa Bay, Toronto for 4, and then the Mets obviously for 2.
I don't know if it's gonna get better before it gets worse, and you know what? And it's gonna put a big stupid grin on Junior's face over there. But listen, if they roll into Scherzer and DeGrom and just get absolutely shoved in Yankee Stadium, maybe that lights some kind of a fire in this team. This team is a wet blanket right now. It's just they all seem to be having the worst time, and so are the fans.
Care about the Subway Series.
Currently, they're teed up.
It's just generally there. If you keep playing bad, they were playing good into the last Subway Series, more or less, and again. Still I don't care about it more than other games. I'm just saying, if you kind of keep getting embarrassed, and you hit rock bottom, that is something that could at least get you moving a little bit.
You know what the other thing is? I'll say this quick. Boone shows when he doesn't care about games. You can tell when the manager has no interest in winning a baseball game. Again, same.
I don't know how many full Yankee games you watch to know what Boone's reactions are to things.
No, it's just the way he coaches, when he decides to sit players, when he pushes his pitchers back, when he avoids the tough games that get your juices flowing.
That's not his decision.
It's not his decision.
But still, that sends a bad message to the team. When you throw Domingo Germán out against Max Scherzer, that shows you don't care about winning that game. The players in the dugout care because the atmosphere is over the top and electric. But when you as an organization say, we don't really care about this game, we could have arranged it so Cole and Scherzer faced off and could have had a banger.
We're not, Junior. We're not going down this road again. The Yankees weren't going to rearrange anything for a game in July.
Does this all the time?
I really thought we finished at 9:00 tonight. I was really feeling good about it.
I'm not getting into it. It's just
all right. Well, don't. And before we turn it back to Corey with our overall follows, just a quick news note here, a little breaking news here on Empire State of Baseball. It has nothing to do with what's happening in the game, but everything with going on with our show, and it has a lot to do with scheduling. And we're aware that there are other team sports out there that are popular, and around this time of year, there's one particular sport that's very popular, and that's of course football. And we realized that people watch Monday Night Football, huge fans of the game, even though it doesn't have any of our favorite teams in the mix. But yeah, Monday Night Football will be an issue for us, so we're not going to interfere with Monday Night Football for all you fantasy owners and big fans of the game. So starting September 13th, which is episode number 24, we are going to start our episodes a little early at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time. Still same night, same place, just new start time, 7:00 p.m. And looking at the MNF schedule, I actually saw there's one game that happens at 7:15, which is a week 2. I had no idea why that game is at 7:15 and everything else is at 8:15, but that game's at 7:15. So if you tune us out for episode 25, screw you, because we did this for you.
I believe it's a double header that week.
It might be a double header.
I'll tune you guys. I'll tune us out.
That might be the first.
That's probably the first Monday night game of the year.
Yeah, the first Monday night game always gets it. Yeah. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. But thank you, Rich, for calling that out. Yep. So again, as of football season, we will be shifting to 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
But anyway, all right, we do have one more segment for you tonight. But again, before we jump to that, we just mentioned before that both Tom and Chicks love the long ball. But guess what? They both love Instagram as well. So join them and follow us at Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. You can also find us, again, on Twitter at ESB Podcast. And once again, last but not least, subscribe to us on Twitch and YouTube so you can enjoy all of the segments that you know and love.
Yes, sir. And you mentioned Instagram. It was actually 82% of the vote went to Sandy Alcantara. We asked the faithful earlier today, who do you feel is the NL frontrunner for Cy Young this year? Sandy Alcantara getting the most votes. Edwin Diaz, not nearly a close second at all. But speaking of Diaz and primarily the closer position for the New York Mets, we do have our next segment dedicated to that spot. And that new segment's called Empire Enigma. And we're going to talk about Major League Baseball in Gotham City and ask trivia questions on this segment. So our trivia question tonight, and let's turn it over to our Empire Enigma bit here. Here it is. Bang. Our question tonight. On August 31st, 2016, Juris Familia set the New York Mets single-season record with his 44th save, defeating the Miami Marlins. Who was the last batter he retired to complete the club record-breaking save?
Giancarlo Stanton?
It was not Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton, was he a member? Yeah, he was a member of that team, 2016.
It was. Yep.
Felt like a good guess.
It was a good guess. Yes, I would think he was. Yeah, he was on that team, so it was a good guess.
This is a very good question.
I feel like it's somebody prominent. I'm gonna go with JT Realmuto.
Not JT Realmuto, but yeah, prominent in the sense of good player in the game, still playing in the game.
Still not Christian Yelich, or we
don't
get second guesses.
It is not Christian Yelich. We didn't have really any rules set here. Maybe we should have it like a timer, but it's not Marcelo Ozuna here, Core, but that's a good guess too. That was a hell of a Marlins team, man.
God, they really just blew
that
thing out. Well, that's how the Marlins operate.
Yep. I forget if he was there. I know he was there for a while. I just forget what year, but was it D. Strange Gordon? Oh,
it was not D. Gordon. Another great guess. One of the most epic home runs in MLB history following Jose Fernandez.
Who's the third of those outfielders? It was Yelich.
I mean, y'all named them all. Yelich, Stanton, Ozuna. It's neither of the three.
Was it Ichiro Suzuki?
Oh, we do have a correct guess in the chat.
I'm not looking at the chat.
You have a correct guess in the chat.
Is it Starling Castro?
Good stuff, Core.
Starling Castro.
Martin Prado.
Not Martin Prado, but you're in the ballpark as far as position goes.
Still not Starling Castro?
Not Starling Castro. Another good guess.
What position?
I mean, second base, I would guess then, right?
Middle infield.
Middle infield.
I don't know what at the time.
Did Derek Jeter come out of the owner booth? He wasn't there at the time.
Was not that.
Wasn't there yet. Okay.
All right.
Would have been awesome. Can you imagine?
Does he still play for the Marlins?
All right. I'll get. Yeah, sure. He still plays for the Marlins.
Does he?
Oh, Miguel Rojas.
Yeah. So
yep, it is Miguel Rojas. There we go. The Empire Enigma generated the correct answer. Joe, with the great guess after 27 guesses and hints.
I mean, listen, we went down the smart road of who is someone who the Marlins had who were really good, who then they traded away because they didn't want to sign.
Yeah.
So
So
Miguel
they could have someone who's such a solid player for so long.
So now I did put that nice question together, but I am going to be channeling our chooches of the chat here. So if you guys have great questions, trivia questions you want to ask for that segment, DM us at ESB Podcast, and we'll use the question on one of these upcoming episodes, whether it's New York Yankee or New York Met related trivia. Send it our way, and we'll put it through Empire Enigma.
Yeah. Again, slide into our DMs on Instagram if you want to have fun on the show. Slide into my DMs if you want to have fun afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. And Joe,
and we're done.
We were
Good night, everybody.
We're not going to let you go unscathed here, man, because I think you're a week away, buddy. I think you're 1 week away.
It's less.
I think by next Monday, Joe's wearing a jersey.
I mean, no person on the planet that thought this team would be 4 games over 500. So,
I mean, you can keep airing that out, Joe. It's still not going to stop you.
That's not. I'm just saying. I'm defending myself that this is one of the most surprise seasons of all time.
Four
all time. Listen, I'm telling you, it's a team that was just they were ready to go. They were ready to go. There's so much young talent, and just to bring in up Adley Rutschman, it's amazing. You're gonna look so svelte and slim in those pinstripes next week.
Can
Top
you name
5
3 people
Orioles
in
have
their
a 6-2
rotation?
lead, so it looks like another win for the Baltimore Orioles tonight.
Nice.
Absolutely, Ryan Mountcastle, another home run. It's
Another
just
dog.
love it. Absolutely love it. Love it for the Birds. Joe's gonna look great next week. Going into the Subway Series wearing pinstripes.
Yes.
Oh, it's gonna be
gotta be done.
beautiful.
If they can clinch, and I hope they do.
Boy.
If they're clinching this week, you have to wear it next month.
Going into the
So
Subway
at this rate,
Series.
you gotta hope
Going
that they
into
don't
a
win any more than
DeGrom
3
day, and he's gonna be wearing pinstripes.
Oh God, I love it.
we'll
All
put
right,
that
guys,
to next
let's send this to next week. How about that? Corey, starting with you. Any thank yous? Love for the group here.
I want to thank Edwin Diaz for not blowing the save. I would have been so upset if I was the one who blew his mojo going to the game Saturday. So thank you, Diaz, for holding it down for this season. I love you.
Oh yeah, love that, Joe.
Thank you for my wife for staying with me for 1 year. I should have been dumped a long time ago.
She's been dumped by the 3 of us a long time ago, if we're being honest.
He was temporarily last week.
Oh,
that was nice. But what are you going to do? Congratulations to you too. Tom?
I'd like to thank IKF for winning a game in Boston.
Yes,
he should absolutely still be replaced.
You should,
but you still celebrate it. Listen, he's not a bad guy. He's just not a very good baseball player. So
yeah, Kiner Falefa, big number 12.
The IKF game.
Love that.
Remembered forever.
Oh yes, the bridge to the future. IKF, gotta love it. All right, guys, we'll see you here next Monday. We're still at 8 p.m. For the next few weeks, so we'll see you at 8 next Monday night. Take care.